So, hey everyone, this is Niharika Singh, and I'm the Gen Sec of the Biology Society. I welcome you all to the third session of the Book Discussion Club. And the book that we have chosen is The Sixth Extinction by Elizabeth Colbert. And today we'll be discussing about chapter 5 and 6 of this book. And for those of you who haven't read the book or like have forgotten some parts of it, we have readers who will be giving a brief summary about that.
We all have played so many perception games in our childhood, but it's not that we all learn in our childhood. In 1949, a pair of Harvard psychologists recruited 2 dozen of undergraduates for an experiment perception. And you know what they did? They placed one legion of either spades or hearts in front of them, and they made them read the cards consecutively, and they replaced one card with a different color and other symbol, like say a six of hearts was removed with a black uh, or red spades, so that way, and the undergraduates were made to read those cards consecutively one after another. So the psychologists wrote a chapter entitled Extinction of Scientific Revolutions, so basic that it shaped not only individual perceptions but an entire fields of inquiry. All this argument led to the conclusion that this is how the great scientific discoveries, or as Kuhn termed it, paradigm shifts took place. तो ऐसा नहीं था कि कोई भी साइंटिफिक डिस्कवरी या तुम बोलो इन्वेंशन वगैरह just pop up हुए. It was all based on perception. The history of scientific extinction can be told as a series of paradigm shifts. And once a paradigm is noted, the perception changes and the work moves in a whole new direction, as it was said by Thomas Kuhn. But these paradigm shifts is what later contradicted the works of earlier scientists such as Cuvier, Lyell, and Darwin. The discovery of iridium layer was that one single moment enough to crack the framework of Lyell and Darwin. So these paradigm shifts prove that catastrophes did happen. They determine the pattern of extinction, which is to say, the pattern of life. So these paradigm shifts, I guess, were very important in studying the extinction events. Any questions? Okay.
Okay, so in this chapter, Colbert shares the experience of studying graptolites at Dobbs Lane. Now, here, graptolites are a type of rock. The rocks discussed here dates back some 445 million years ago to the last part of the Ordovician period. At that point, the globe was experiencing a continental logjam. Most of the land, including now Africa, South America, Australia, and Antarctica, was joined into a giant mass, Gondwana. England belonged to the continent, now lost of Avalonia, and Dublins lay in the southern hemisphere at the bottom of an ocean known as Lapteus. During the Ordovician, number of marine families tripled.
Shreya, you can
And
stop for a while. Ankush has something to say.
आवाज बढ़ा दो यार ऑडिबल नहीं
मेरी आवाज ऑडिबल नहीं है. Okay.
थोड़ा सा volume up कर लो.
Wait a minute. Let me figure out. Okay, now I am like अब ठीक है आवाज?
थोड़ा कम थी
तुमने जो वॉल्यूम किया वो शायद
Shreya, you
Shreya,
figure out your
तुम थोड़ा
volume.
जोर से बोलो.
You figure
हाँ
out
ठीक
your
है
volume.
ठीक है.
Till then, I have a question. तो अगर फ्यूचर में एवोल्यूशन हुआ, जो कि होगा ही, so who do you think will survive? Like the question is for everyone.
एवोल्यूशन अभी होता है।
I guess humans will be the first one to survive, seeing as they are not getting affected by all these climatic changes and whatever is happening around the globe. Humans will survive this.
I guess everyone will
I
survive.
hope I'm not interrupting Shreya by asking this question. So, Shreya, if you guys don't mind if I ask the question, right? Right now, right?
Yeah, and sorry, that was not evolution, that was mass extinction.
Okay, okay. So, can I ask my question now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Shreya briefly touched on Gondwana. So, as we all know, in prehistoric times, we had huge land masses like Pangaea and Gondwana. Do you think a human colony on Mars would cause a similar Martian supercontinent to break apart? And
You
what
are not
about the
audible.
state effect on Enceladus or Europa? How do you think this will affect the colonists? Like,
You are not audible.
what
Please,
You're not
please.
that audible.
No, he's audible.
should I repeat my question?
Yeah, please.
All right.
Yeah.
So Shreya briefly touched on Gondwana, right, the supercontinent. So my question is, in prehistoric times, we had huge land masses like Pangaea and Gondwana. Do you think a human colony on Mars would cause a similar Martian supercontinent to break apart? And what about on Enceladus or Europa? How do you think this will affect the colonists?
That depends on the tectonic activity. I don't know if Mars has some active geothermal activities that
Mars has active
will.
volcanoes, from what I know. I mean, from what I've heard, it has active volcanoes, right? Mars.
It has like I don't know if it is active or not, but like yeah, it has a volcano which is like the biggest volcano in the biggest kind of a mountain in the whole solar system. But I don't know about the geothermal activity of the Mars. But certainly in Enceladus and others, so some geothermal activity is there. So also in Enceladus, I guess, or maybe I think it was Enceladus. So something captured some water vapors emitting out into the space from the planet's surface. So I think it is active geothermally.
Yeah.
And so we were discussing this Gondwana thing. So I recently I found some simulator. I just screen share it. Niharika, can you please give the permission?
It's done.
Yeah. So yesterday I found this. Can you see the picture?
Not yet. Oh, this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a simulation of how Earth was. So here you can type the name of the city. For example, I am typing Patiala. So just a second. Okay. So here is Patiala. So first I'm going where we are now. So we are here. Just a second. Yeah. So now I'll be going to when the dinosaurs got extinct. So anyone want to guess where will be this location?
With Africa.
Okay. Any other
Very
guess?
near, very near to.
About south, near Antarctica. I mean, this was all Indo-Australian plate was connected to Gondwana land
Mm-hmm.
actually.
Okay.
So it must be a southern
Yeah.
pole.
Okay. So any other guesses? All right. So so I'm going to when dinosaurs got extinct. So it is towards the end Cretaceous period. So it was an island during the time asteroids struck and dinosaurs got extinct.
आइलैंड है किधर?
ये रहा इंडिया,
नहीं
इंडियन
मतलब
वाला रीजन है।
हाँ, वो मैं समझ गया, पर ये किधर है? लाइक
अच्छा,
मॉडर्न
हाँ
डे अफ्रीका के पास?
सो दिस इज मेडागास्कर। सो यहाँ से ये जुड़ा हुआ था, उसके बाद ये फिर ऊपर यहाँ पे चाइनीज वाली साइड से जाके स्ट्राइक किया। So I can just go it by, I can just evolve it slowly. तो अभी जीरो है, यानी it is the present. So now I'm going to 20 million years back. So यहाँ पे हिमालयन regions अभी गायब हो गए because अभी ये दोनों टकराए नहीं हैं. Then 35 million years. तो ऐसे करते करते थोड़ा थोड़ा पीछे जाता रहेगा. तो यहाँ पे सेपरेट हो गया. और फिर so if I go all the way back to 750 million years ago, still it is not just one land. ये अभी भी like it's divided between the two, and this is when this is during the time first green algae originated. And मतलब यहाँ पे right hand side, do you see? Are you able to see this screen, this tab?
Yes.
Yeah.
यहाँ पे choose कर सकते हो. So when are the first green algae, first shells, coral reefs, for example coral reefs. So it is not completely accurate. यहाँ पे इन्होंने कहीं दिया हुआ है what is the accuracy. So they are accurate up to 100 kilometer radius or something. So the references हैं यहाँ पे, like what was, from where they picked the database and all. So I'll share the link in the chat.
That's great.
That was something which I came to know like for the first time. So that was really interesting. Thank you for like, I was going to ask you to send the link. I will definitely check it later. Okay, so moving on. During the Ordovician, the number of marine family tripled and the seas filled with creatures we would more or less recognize. Some 444 million years ago in Ordovician, the oceans emptied out. Something like 85% of marine species died off. That was called the first of the big five extinctions. Now you can finally, relieve that, okay, finally in the sixth extinction, the first one got over. To the naked eye, graptolite fossils look like scratches or, in some cases, tiny trilobites, if I'm not like pronouncing it wrong. They had lovely evocative shapes. One species suggests a feather, another a lyre, a third the frond of a fern. Graptolites were colonial animals. Each individual, known as zooid, built itself a tiny tubular shelter known as a theca. A single graptolite fossil thus represents a whole community. Zaltsevis, the stratigrapher, compares them to Natasha, the tender heroine of war and peace. I mean, how can you compare, the fossils to a celebrity, that to Natasha? So, hereby ending chapter number 6. But before that, Fatma, so do you have something to add?
All right. So what exactly happened 444 million years ago to nearly wipe out the graptolites, the conodonts, and the trilobites? When all of these things were considered together, a pattern emerged, namely that mass extinction seemed to happen in bursts of roughly 26 million years, periodic bursts, similar to cicadas coming out of the earth. Extinction, in other words, okay, that I've said, right? The end Permian or end Triassic extinction we just talked about right now, right? That was the one which was caused by the Patton Peninsula, that meteorite, right? So it was a very huge extinction. To get some idea of the scale of the extinction, it wiped out nearly all multicellular life on the planet. It was the biggest of the big five. Okay. Now, the iridium levels, I don't know if she touched on that. Did you touch on the iridium levels? No, right? So scientists searched for iridium in the soil, but unfortunately, when we are searching in space, like we are assuming that it came from outer space, but the iridium levels have been attributed to sedimentation. And as far as the end Ordovician extinction is concerned, the theory is that it was caused by glaciation.
Please go slow.
But just a second.
Very
Your
hard
audio.
to hear you.
What?
I guess
Very,
he can't
very
hear you.
difficult.
All right.
Maybe you can
Can you
check
guys hear
the
me now?
microphone volume in the audio settings.
What mic are you
Yeah.
using?
Mic volume is full.
No, the input one. Is it full?
Yeah, it's full.
Okay.
Can you place it
And
near your
output one?
mouth if it's a separate mic?
No, it's a laptop mic.
Oh,
Am I audible?
yeah, now you're
It's
audible.
audible to me, huh?
Just go slow.
All
Or
right.
quite fast.
All
Fast
right.
it
So
up.
I mentioned that the end Permian extinction was the biggest of the big five. And as far as the end Ordovician extinction is concerned, the prevailing theory is that it was caused by glaciation. And what caused this glaciation? Apparently, it was caused by mosses. So now, did you think about it? It was an extinction of animals caused by plants. That is a very dark thought, like when you really think about
Wow.
it. And the remainder of the end Permian extinction seems to have been triggered by a change in the climate. One hypothesis is that the heating of the oceans favored hydrogen sulfide producing bacteria, and this hydrogen sulfide was fatal to other creatures living in the ocean. According to Zalasiewicz, we've seen right now that a mass extinction can be caused by human beings. So it's clear that we do not yet have a general theory of mass extinction. So I had a question actually. According to Zalasiewicz, after humans are eliminated from the earth, like after we are extinct, rats, choohe, they will be the dominant species on the planet. What are your thoughts on it? And according to you, which species will be the dominant species on the planet? Batao? After we are gone.
So the book also hints a few species, and also like the most probable options are maybe rats and cockroaches because they are everywhere and they can just go underground. So it's just every.
Insects.
What about
Maybe
ants?
insects and rodents will be dominant next time because
And
they are
uh,
too
yeah,
variable.
Cosmopolitan.
That is like that is like something straight out of Ben 10. So anyway, the chapter ends with a discussion on the name for our era, the era that we're currently living in. So Crutes coined the name Anthropocene, but according to you, what name should it have? I mean, I'm not here to give my opinions. I'm here to ask you guys. So, what name should the era that the epoch that we're living in currently have? बताओ.
It could be fictional as well, or
It can be anything. जो भी तुम्हारे मन में आता है, just
How about Homocene? Since Earth is now dominated by Homo sapiens.
that's a good one. That is actually a good one. आपका क्या कह रहे हैं?
Can't hear you. Can you repeat that?
Okay, so my question was basically Crutes, scientists coined the name for the epoch that we're currently living in as the Anthropocene, okay? But according to you, what is an appropriate name for the epoch that we're living in? So, मैंने Anthropocene बताया कि he coined the name. Then Sakshi was like Homocene can also be the name. But according to you, what should be the name for the epoch that we're living in?
I'm thinking of a name for computers.
Like when we say
Technocene epoch. Yeah, I think Technocene would be more appropriate right now.
like
The age
you know,
of technology.
yeah,
Technocene.
that is also a good one.
no, but technology just appeared last century. So, but
But it has massively impacted our,
Technology,
our
is a very
population
subjective
growth, I
term.
think.
Like the first steam engine, the first train, all of these things, even the wheel, that is also technology. So
Yeah, but what perhaps I meant, no, wheel is not really technology. I mean, it really.
I mean, it was new for its time. Like when before humans invented the wheel, then you know.
I'm
Yeah,
talking of
but
technology.
we are talking about the species. So I think Technocene would be a little far-fetched.
so what is the meaning of the Pocene thing? Like like, do you know the origin of this word, Anthropocene?
Don't you think it's arbitrary, Anthropocene? I mean, the dominant species in terms of occupation is really ants. They're like much more populous than humans.
No, but that is not affecting the overall like the ecosystem due to that thing. So that's why the person proposed to be named this thing separately, because it is just a proposal yet. So recently, I think in the last month, there was a voting done that whether this Anthropocene will be officially accepted as a different era or not.
That was
So
actually
it is
mentioned
still
in
in
the book as well, in these chapters. That was mentioned in the book as well.
okay. So this is not official yet. So it is still, the discussion is going on.
Also, Paul Crutzen, he won a Nobel Prize. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, so he won a Nobel Prize for discovering the effects of ozone depleting compounds. But the book said that they cannot overstate that in the book, the importance of that. So, can anybody like have any views on that? Importance of ozone depleting compounds. Like they said in the book that if he had not discovered that at that point, then I think the whole earth would have been covered by the ozone hole. Till
क्या
now.
Niharika, what's the question in that? I mean,
समझ नहीं आया है.
It
what
was
are you
not
trying
the
to say?
question. See, the thing was that कि उस टाइम पे अंटार्कटिका के ऊपर वो थी ना ओजोन होल. And that time, the ozone depleting compounds, मतलब जो which are responsible for creating the ozone hole, they were discovered by him. But फिर ये बोला था कि if he had not discovered it at that time, so it was possible कि ozone hole would have increased and the whole earth would have been under that. So they said कि उसकी importance बहुत ज़्यादा है which cannot be stated in the book. So does anyone have any views on that?
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes,
So, assuming we accept this name as the Anthropocene, right? If we give this name, this epoch, the name the Anthropocene, what do you think the ruins slash remains of the Anthropocene will look like? Like, what's the legacy that humanity will leave behind on the planet? Destruction or what?
All the
I
plastic.
mean,
I guess that's one thing that won't be destroyed.
for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are currently surrounded by it everywhere. Even in the papers, the sheets we use are have some amount of plastic. So that's why I said the age of dash.
No,
Back
but
to
it's
you, Sakshi.
this thing also, na, like whenever so when someone is like pursuing like, maybe I can if I call it science. So no one knows the consequences initially. So उसके जो results हैं, like all the negative aspects, all the positive, like हम positive aspects सोच के ही जाते हैं, but all negative aspects, so it will always come as consequences. So
Yes,
it's not just the like it मतलब गलती, I don't say that it is a fault, but it is just a consequence. Now we have to just like correct our mistakes.
किस चीज कौन सी mistakes? What are you talking about?
Consequences of like technology.
The plastic era.
Like we're literally seeing loss of biodiversity in the oceans. Like turtles are dying choking on the plastic.
I think we could not see what it will do in the long run and hence the consequences. Maybe.
the ocean, everything all accumulates. Even like deer and everything they chew, or like crows, birds, they feed on plastic and then they ingest it, they choke themselves and they all die. It's
I guess the most
plastic is
recent
basic.
example would be due to the COVID situation, the PP kits, their accumulation, even the masks, for instance. That could be a great example.
The COVID crisis just erased anything we had achieved due to the global conservation meets that happened worldwide. All that we had achieved through them, we just lost it.
I don't agree completely. I guess, we like over the past 4 or 5 months, there has been like I would say the air quality has definitely improved, and we could hear from like lots of people that there has been the air quality index has been improving and everything. But of course, the soil pollution and everything, yeah, that's a different concern.
Even the
But
Yeah,
air
I
pollution.
100% agree with what Shreya is saying because there are so many industries that got shut down during this period that literally all the pollution, like it's, you can't say they got reversed exactly, but then you can definitely say that it 100% helped us. Otherwise, we were already going on a very bad path, so it kind of helped us, like, I don't know, maybe give us a year or two extra from this.
No, so if
Yeah.
you see data, so overall, like global data, so it has affected like almost completely zero because it just there were even the air quality. So there was some at the local level some improvement will be there. So it will like the benefit will be just on the perception of human beings. Like okay, so if we do this, so this can be done. But just by the 4 months, because not everything was shut down, and also you have to see other countries like India went into a complete shutdown, but many like developed countries were having systematic lockdowns. So like many things were going on. So if you see the overall CO2 levels, they were just rising. So they didn't even drop a bit.
Not just CO2 levels, yeah. We had water wastage, yeah. Like initially हम हाथ धोते थे just 5-10 seconds, maximum 5-10 seconds we used to wash our hands for. Now for it's recommended that 20 seconds minimum, yeah. So just see the water wastage. This is just a single aspect that I look for. Then we had masks, we have PPE kits. The whole medical equipment has increased exponentially. तो इसके कारण ज़्यादा pollution आ रहा है. We have a greater amount of land polluted due to this. Now this medical equipment is just has to be incinerated. इसका कोई इलाज नहीं है. तो अगर हम इसको इंसिनरेट करेंगे, every harmful chemical that we had stored in the uh, material would just now go in the air. तो अब अगर वो हवा में जा रहा है तो फिर एयर पोल्यूशन तो नेचुरली होएगी.
I
और
mean, you can also counter that with the thing that okay, at the same time when COVID happened, not many people are also going out in the streets, like as in taking their car or their bike for going to work. Basically, commuting when it reduced, that also helps reduce the amount of smoke that gets into the air. So indirectly, that also did help reduce the air pollution as well.
yes, it did
Not only
surely,
air
but
pollution, it also gave time to nature to heal back. I mean, animals, we can see in many places, animals are returning to their natural habitats. For
I can
example,
counter
we
that.
have seen gangetic dolphins.
I can counter that with the fact that the California forest fires took place. California's forests, rainforests have been burning for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
but
also
I
And
think
also
that
that
is something annual
fires are
event,
not.
I guess.
no, but this year it has been ज़्यादा हो रहा है ये आग जो लग रही है जंगलों में. It has been rising, यार. Just see at
exactly.
the
It's not been
this
slowing down.
Also, there's a
Australia.
reason
Yes,
behind.
Australian
Uh,
bushfires is
Yes,
yeah.
Australian bushfire.
Yeah,
and there's a reason
just
behind this
just
fire pattern.
just
Yeah, please complete. Yeah, yeah.
so I was there in some meet when the Australian bushfires were happening. I had happened to attend an event in the college. Uh, I was like मैं हैरान हो गए. कुछ लोगों को यही नहीं पता कि अमेज़न रेन फॉरेस्ट और ऑस्ट्रेलियन बुश फायर्स ये दोनों अलग इवेंट्स हैं. नाउ just listen कि they said Australian bushfires and Amazon fires aren't the same thing. I literally I was like क्या है ये भाई and अगर देखा जाए वो मेरे से लाइक 10 साल बड़े थे जिन्होंने ये बात की थी।
तो ऐसा करना TBS का फॉर्म दे देना, मेंबरशिप फॉर्म।
I'm not in, भाई सच में यार टीबीएस का फॉर्म छोड़ो एक बार गूगल तो कर लो भाई बाकी सब छोड़ो गूगल कर लो आपको पता लगेगा भाई मैं इतना ज्यादा हैरान था ना उनकी बात सुनकर बस मैं आपसे बात नहीं कर रहा
I mean,
No,
it's like basically because of misinformation. Basically, if you give a person a phone camera and tell them to take a photo, they'll be, oh yeah, this is very easy, and they'll think this is all that there is for taking a photo. But then, like, if you talk to an actual photographer, he'll know like all the ISO and the things that you have to, the lighting, everything. So basically, he will say he doesn't know much. But then a person who is just used to a phone camera will say, oh yeah, I know how to do this perfectly. It's very easy to do and everything. That's exactly what happened with this guy. He doesn't know what's going on in this world. He doesn't know. He doesn't have any idea. Basically, his thinking capacity on this particular subject is limited. Simple to say.
The
I
thing
agree
is
with
that
that.
most people don't really need this, knowing this sort of information for the daily living, and especially in India, a lot of people have to, their daily living itself is a challenge. So especially when you talk of these older people, they don't have much need to be aware of all this. So it's sort of irrelevant for them. You can't even blame them for not knowing all this because it doesn't affect them, their daily survival.
See,
Most
for
people
an
don't even
old
know that
person, yes, it
softwares
doesn't
like
affect
WhatsApp
them. But
compress
then,
your photos.
huh?
Like the general public doesn't even know that WhatsApp and all Facebook, these platforms actually compress your images that you send. So if you want to send someone a lossless image, you need to either host it somewhere else or send it as a document, right? I mean, we know because we're involved in the society, but not many people know this, right?
It's true.
And also, like, there's a generation gap between us and older people, like even if you say 15, 20 years older. So because, like, if you like an off topic thing, but if you see about the politics and also, like, all are like going
I can
behind
actually
fake news,
counter
all
that.
are going
I can
behind
counter that.
TV
So
news.
I've been
And
part of this Telegram group. Actually, I'm still part of the Telegram group. There's this old lady. So I joined in 2018. So at that time she was like 63 years old. Okay, and she knew more than me about Android modding, flashing custom ROMs, flashing routing your device and stuff like that. Like she had so much knowledge, so much more knowledge than I did.
But then again, you can also say like that is one person that you met. Like what we're talking about is a broad spectrum. Like the
Yeah,
most of the old
I mean we
people,
can't
like
generalize. We can't generalize.
yeah,
pretty much
some
like I'll give you another example. My grandmother, she's like around maybe like 67, 70 around this time.
Hmm.
I she keeps asking me how do I send stuff through WhatsApp, how do I open my contacts. She doesn't have any idea of how to use a phone. She just knows the basics. She has WhatsApp, she can call, she can send message, that's about it. Like it's dependent on like different kinds of people and how they view like things like technology and like adapting to what's going on in today's world. But then actually for them it's not a necessity, but which is why most of them don't. But then for some people it is, like your example.
I guess,
Even though newer
even at
developers use
times,
the
the
Android.
environment around us, people around us, if they're welcoming, if they want to teach you, like if they want to help you genuinely, I guess that really helps a lot as well at times. The rest depends on the interest of an individual at the end of the day.
Okay, I think the discussion has veered like off topic बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया है.
So
So with
regarding
that, I
fire
want to.
thing we
Huh?
discussing. So there is a regarding the fire thing we were discussing. So there's this reason behind it. Like so, पहले क्या होता था? Like there were distributed trees around the, like if I take the example of California. So वो जो forest था, it was like distributed patches of trees, and most of it was like timber, teak and oak, or that sort of category. So उनको like the forest fires, the natural fires were actually beneficial for them uh, to like supply the nutrients to the soil, and then like to spread the seeds and all. But so after that, so humans came and they cut down those trees. So then जो उसके उनके rival species थे, like जो उस टाइम पे दे कुडंट काउंटर द teak and oak. So जब वो खत्म हो गए, so they didn't get any competition, so they grew. And then जो patches थे, they also like started to fill up. तो उनकी जो like जो ट्रंक होती है, so those जो बाकी के जो अभी ग्रो हो रहे हैं, उनकी जो ट्रंक का साइज है, इट इज वेरी लेस. सो इसलिए दे कैच वेरी इजिली द फायर. एंड ऑल्सो क्योंकि वो अभी पैचेस में नहीं रहा, इट हैज बिकम अ डेंस फॉरेस्ट, तो इसलिए वो और ज्यादा फैल जाती है. So that's why it's so उसमें भी like it's the reason behind more aggressive forest fires are we humans.
Recently, there is a Bhutanese prime minister, ex prime minister. I've seen नाम भूल गया मैं उसका. हाँ, तो
Is कुछ
बेसिकली
particular?
मैं
Yeah.
बोल थोड़े से धीरे रहा हूँ. हाँ, तो what I'm saying is there is a Bhutanese ex prime minister. He is like focused on he's a conservationist. अरे यार क्या टर्म होता है वो conservationist. I've forgotten the name. तो तो उन्होंने एक वीडियो डाला था टेड
TEDx.
टेड. तो उसपे he said he quoted some data and said the not only we are suffering from the melting of snow in the polar regions, but we are also facing a melting of snow scenario in the Himalayan region. तो in that case we would see कि जैसे rainfall has increased in the Himalayan region instead of snowfall. So that would impact the amount of snow that is being stored in the Himalayan mountains. तो तो ultimately क्या होगा कि the sea levels will increase from the melted ice of the polar regions, and the the flooding will increase in the plainer regions of Himalayan plains due to the melting of ice in Himalayan region. तो ये 2 डिग्री सेल्सियस का जो इंक्रीज हो रहा है ये लगातार फायर्स के कारण. कैलिफोर्नियन फायर्स एक एनुअल इवेंट है. आज के सिनेरियो में हर साल कैलिफोर्निया के फॉरेस्ट में आग लगती ही लगती है. The US government tries a lot to contain that fire, but it always happens. And this is now annual event हो गया है अब ये 2020. तो एक इवेंट बन जाएगा ये कि कैलिफोर्नियन फायर्स 2019, कैलिफोर्नियन फायर्स 2020, कैलिफोर्नियन फायर्स 2021. तो ये जो कंसिस्टेंट फायर्स हो रहे हैं, what I'm saying is ये जो consistent fires हो रहे हैं worldwide, they would certainly impact कि जो हमने अभी तक like conservationist movements अभी तक आए थे अभी जो क्या थे वो स्विट्जरलैंड वाला जो था समिट जो थी जैसा था all the कि हम the multi country यार वो क्या था
नाम मुझे नहीं याद, मुझे भी नहीं नाम याद. मुझे पता है बोला इवेंट उनका होता है, मुझे नाम याद.
उसमें जिससे ट्रम्प ने पुल आउट किया था कि मैंने
Paris Convention.
पेरिस कन्वेंशन. तो बेसिकली जितना कुछ पेरिस कन्वेंशन के थ्रू अचीव हुआ होगा या जितना कुछ अभी तक हमने अचीव किया था ये कंजर्वेशनलिस्ट मूवमेंट्स के थ्रू, दिस ऑल हैज गॉन टू वेस्ट. जो भी हमने लाइक 0.5 डिग्रीज जो हमने कंटेन किए थे, वी हैव इंक्रीज्ड 1.5 डिग्रीज नाउ सेल्सियस द टेम्परेचर. जो हमने लाइक 0.5 से रिड्यूस किया होगा द ग्लोबल वार्मिंग टेम्परेचर, जो हमने लाइक
Yeah, it also doesn't help to have a president who literally doesn't care about the environment, who doesn't believe in global warming. So that's also another reason that it's actually been accelerated. That's true.
Brazil is on another level. The president of Brazil.
Oh yeah,
I think
that's
now we
also
need to
very,
focus
very bad.
more on sustainability. Like it's the need of the hour.
That's why so many
True.
technologies are investing in negative emission technologies.
Actually, until people just limit their population growth, I don't think there's any use investing in all this technology because if you read about it online, having one child is equivalent to I don't know the exact number, but it's like it creates a lot of carbon emissions. So the solution, the problems have actually accelerated since we had a increased population.
I mean, look, there are more than enough people who are there for like who don't want children today at this point. That's fine. That's on them. It's their decision. So we are moving towards that side of life nowadays. I mean, so at this point, actually, we can make the decision. If we want to do it, we can do it. We are helping the world. If we don't want to do it, we are still helping the world because we are, after all, helping. Like we are, after all, reproducing and basically building up our future generation. So actually, it's a win-win situation when you think about it at this point. If you don't want a child, good, we save our environment. If you want a child,
No,
good,
no,
we
it's
save
not
our
just
species.
that. It's that there needs to be more cooperation among the masses, and it won't help the kind of politics we have these days, which are based on
Cooperation can
getting into
never.
power.
I mean,
And
a 7 billion, for 7 billion people, I don't think cooperation for how many children to have will
no, no,
happen
not that
anytime
way.
soon.
Not just that way. No, no, not that way. You don't get it. I think we need to change the current political administrative setup. That one person at the top deciding policies for everyone and thinking it's right.
I mean, I would say that, but then honestly, communism failed and capitalism is obviously like kind of working at this point. So that's another discussion, but then still.
These are theories, they are not really applicable on the ground. As in, there is no country which is completely capitalistic or any country which is completely communist. These are just
Uh,
political theories that, on the ground level, they are not very right.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
So,
Question before we move on to the next chapter. So, since we were talking about the Amazon forest fires and the Australian bush fires and the California fires, along with everything else, my question is: if an asteroid the size of which struck the Yucatan Peninsula strikes the Amazon rainforest, how do you think the scientific community will deal with the loss of biodiversity? And just wait, in a similar fashion, if such an event occurred at the Sundarbans Delta, what do you think scientists would do?
I think that would affect the human lives in many ways. I mean, there will be a loss of food sources, of
Human
livelihood,
as well
of
as wildlife.
It depends on
wildlife
the
is getting affected by the events now
Mm-hmm.
already.
Mm-hmm.
Like asteroid hits and such events will obviously eliminate so many, so much of wildlife. So I guess that will affect human life mostly since it's dependent on the wildlife so much for food, for shelter, for livelihood, for building their homes, for everything, I think.
it depends on the size of the asteroid you are talking about. So and also we can't always say in terms of loss because whenever extinction has happened, so new species have emerged. So it's just the perspective. Like, do you see the loss of the previous species, or you see the birth of the new species?
But
Speciation
the birth of
doesn't
new
take place
species
as
will
fast as
take
we
time,
would like to
right?
think.
I guess.
Speciation
Yeah,
is not something which takes place very fast.
Yeah. So the
So there
laws
is a need to conserve
we will
the gene pool of
evolve
those
them.
organisms that we'll lose.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we are thorough with the fifth chapter.
I have a question from the fifth chapter. Since we were discussing about graptolites, so can anyone tell to which species the graptolite resembles? To which present species? There's an also image given in the book of the graptolite
Yeah,
fossil.
I can remember. Wait. Venus flytrap, that
Yeah.
carnivorous plant.
Yes. Yes.
Ankush, you're on mute if you're seeing something.
Just got. I just got that. So what I was saying is, we have a like there is a subsidy on the petroleum mining. ठीक है, offered by multiple governments of multiple countries. ठीक है, तो would you agree if I say that petroleum increase in the use of petroleum has increased the use of plastics?
Yeah,
I
if
would
we
repeat.
talk about automobiles, then yes, it has.
Actually, you see, most plastics that we use these days are to do with food packaging. If you look around you, if you see all the plastic that we use these days that actually harms the environment, has to do with food packaging, and that is sort of a necessary evil because otherwise, how do you conserve food for long? So I don't know. I
हाँ,
think
what am I
this.
what I meant to say is कि अब पेट्रोलियम माइनिंग के बढ़ने के कारण हमारी प्लास्टिक कंजम्पशन बढ़ी है कि नहीं?
No, I think it has to do with increased intake of processed food that has resulted in increased plastic use actually.
But then petroleum, I don't think that plays like that is the only factor, because even if we go for electric vehicles or let's go for biodiesel, then also the same thing.
Look, the यार देखो, अब क्रूड ऑयल अगर हम माइन करते हैं तो we have some byproducts after the distillation of petrol and diesel. We have some byproducts. उनमें ज्यादातर हाइड्रोकार्बन्स ऐसे होते हैं जिनके थ्रू हम प्लास्टिक्स बनाते हैं, पॉलीमर्स बनाते हैं. तो अगर ऐसा हो कि we decrease the petroleum mining, won't we decrease the plastic production and hence the consumption of the plastics?
That is actually one of the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. So this is part of the reduce thing.
The reduce thing वो तो बाद में आएगा ना. पहले हम उसको प्रोडक्शन से ही अगर कम कर दें तो
हाँ, तो
रिड्यूस
कम
तो
तो
ऑटोमेटिकली हो जाएगा ना.
यूज के स्टेज पे भी कर सकते हो रिड्यूस, उसके प्रोडक्शन के स्टेज पे रिड्यूस कर सकते हो, है ना? दैट्स व्हाट आई थिंक. मतलब प्रोड्यूस ही ना करो तो रिड्यूस तो कर ही रहे हो.
ऑब्वियसली. तो द थिंग इज कि हमारी जो गवर्नमेंट्स हैं वो पेट्रोलियम माइनिंग पे सब्सिडी देती हैं. हाँ,
बंधन
बोलिए.
बंधन रेज हैंड करा हुआ है. कुछ
No,
बोलना
no.
चाहते
So I have another question. So once we complete it, so I'll ask that.
हो? All right,
Okay.
Ankush, please continue.
हाँ, तो व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज कि मल्टीपल कंट्रीज की गवर्नमेंट्स सब्सिडी देती आ रही हैं पेट्रोलियम माइनिंग पे. मतलब जो कंपनीज पेट्रोलियम माइन करती हैं, क्रूड ऑयल माइन करती हैं, उनको जो गवर्नमेंट है वो एक सब्सटैंशियल अमाउंट की सब्सिडी देती है, जिसके थ्रू वो अपनी प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाते हैं. वो कंपनीज अपनी प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाती हैं. तो अल्टीमेटली अब जैसे ये इलेक्ट्रिक रेवोल्यूशन आ रहा है. द हाइड्रोजन व्हीकल्स, Hyundai is working a lot in the हाइड्रोजन फ्यूल सेल इकोनॉमी. मतलब हाइड्रोजन फ्यूल सेल उस पर काफी काम कर रही है Hyundai. तो अगर ये दोनों इनको हमें फोरमोस्ट सबसे आगे लाना है तो वी हैव टू reduce the subsidy offered to the petroleum sector and increase the subsidy offered in the electric or hydrogen fuel cell sector. What say?
I agree. तुम जो बोल रहे हो ना कि if we reduce the subsidy and everything, right? So basically the thing I want to say कि there is no limit to human greed, and humans will be responsible for their own downfall and for the destruction of the planet. Regarding this एक question है मेरा, but I'm saving it for after chapter 6. So I'm not sure if we have like, can we do it? Like अभी fun activity planned थी हमारी. श्रेया, what say? निहारिका कौन
Yeah,
कर रहा है
let's-
fun activity?
Yeah.
I think
Let's
let's
do
do
it.
the activity. Yeah, it will be a breezer.
That fine. Just 2 questions before that. so regarding the discussion, so like Ankush was mentioning regarding the petroleum mining. So have you read the news about that Turkey has discovered a natural gas reserves under its jurisdiction? So I guess it's around 300 billion cubic meters of gas reserve. So it's natural gas. So what is your take? So should Turkey pursue that, like, because natural gas also causes pollution, or should it go towards renewable sources?
Like अभी जो like पेट्रोल से ज्यादा रिन्यूएबल है वो सीएनजी ही है, नेचुरल गैस ही है। तो अगर उनको लाइक इकोनॉमी चलानी है अपनी तो नेचुरली उनको ये करना ही पड़ेगा। दे हैव नो अदर ऑप्शन, वरना उनके पास
But even
इन्वेस्टिंग
more
तो
renewable than that is obviously solar power. Like that's literally what is going to be the future at this point. And the government is giving a subsidy for putting solar, running a house on solar,
Yeah,
which
I've
is
heard
also a
about it.
point to be noted.
मिलती है, बट लाइक सोलर पैनल्स पे तभी तभी वी हैव बीन एबल टू रिड्यूस द कॉस्ट ऑफ पैनलिंग। The cost of solar electricity production has substantially increased due to the subsidy offered by the government. Now, in Punjab, I am from Punjab, so I know in Punjab, the Punjab government offers 25% subsidy, while this while on the same panel, the Uttar Pradesh government offers 70% subsidy. Just see the difference. लाइक अगर 2 लाख का पैनल आप लगा रहे हो तो आपको पंजाब में 20% पे आपको मतलब 40,000 का सेविंग होगी आपकी। बट अगर आप यूपी में पैनल खरीद रहे हो तो यू हैव अ 70% डिस्काउंट। तो मतलब लाइक आपको सिर्फ 60,000 इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ रहा है वहाँ पे, तो आपका 1 लाख रुपया बच रहा है अगर आप सिर्फ यूपी से पैनल
Most
खरीद।
of the energy from those panels is going back into the power lines. It is not being used by the people who have those panels on their homes.
हाँ, दिस एज ये एक नेट मीटरिंग का एक सिनेरियो होता है ये वी हैव इन द स्टेट। तो नेट मीटरिंग में क्या होता है कि आप एक पैनल आपने पैनल्स अपनी कैपेसिटी के अकॉर्डिंग लगा लिए हैं, आपका एक मीटर लग जाएगा, द पावर कॉर्पोरेशन आपके घर पे एक मीटर लगा देगी एंड देन जितनी आपकी कंजम्पशन है उतना आप अगर आप लाइक प्रोड्यूस कर उससे ज्यादा मतलब लाइक अगर आप प्रोडक्शन आप कर रहे हो लाइक दिन के 5 किलोवाट आप बिजली बन रही है सोलर पैनल्स के थ्रू, तो आप और आपकी कंजम्पशन भी इतनी ही है तो लाइक यू आर एट अ प्रॉफिट। तो अगर तो लाइक पूरे साल में आपका जो है वो आपको जो भी एक्स्ट्रा बिजली एक्स्ट्रा इलेक्ट्रिसिटी आप प्रोड्यूस आपके पैनल्स प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं वो आपके लाइक पावर लाइंस में चली जाएगी। तो जस्ट लीव इट, मेक्स नो सेंस। अभी मैं आपको बता नहीं पा रहा ठीक से, तो
I think
अभी
we should have a discussion in the group for this topic.
Yeah, I think instead of, I think we should move on to the next event, as it's already been mentioned 2 or 3 times. We can have like this discussion in the group by chat. We can chat about this in the group. I think that would be
Guys,
better.
Or how about we hold a meeting for the whole group?
Guys, we have a Discord server as well. We can discuss this there as well.
Yeah.
just a moment.
Voice chat.
I
Yeah,
think
we'll
let's do
leave
the
that
activity
in
now.
the box. Discord is the only.
Yeah, we'll do
Yeah,
that
yeah.
later, Shreya. I think, yeah, we should begin with the fun activity. What say?
Yeah, please. Waiting for that.
So let me share my screen then. All right, so can you see my screen?
Yeah, let's start.
Cool. So the rules of the game are we'll be showing you 5 images one by one, and you have to see the image and you need to answer what comes in your mind by seeing those images. Now, like, I don't know how many of you have read the book actually and how many of you actually remember. So the images are from the book, but again, you will be given just 30 seconds to answer that. and you have to answer it in the chat box personally to Sakshi Gupta. So like change your settings in the chat box from everyone to Sakshi Gupta. And I'll be presenting my screen and showing you images, and you have to like answer what comes in your mind by seeing those images in the chat box. And yeah, I'll again be showing a timer as well. Yeah.
Come on, guys, you have to win it. Niharika, reveal the prize as well.
Later.
No, not yet. Let the game begin first.
Anyone has any doubts regarding the rules?
नहीं.
Okay, everyone got it.
तुम्हारा टाइमर छिप गया.
Just a second. Yeah, so this is the image and I'm starting the timer. Go.
Come on, guys, I'll be distracting you. You don't have to like answer to me. Don't reveal the answers in the public chat box.
5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Stop, everyone. Okay, so I'm moving to the next image then. There it goes. And there starts your timer.
Come on.
You have to just say anything, na?
Whatever comes in your mind. It should be right. Not like if you don't know, then how it can be wrong. All right, stop everyone. Yeah, so Bandhan sir raised his hand. Any issues?
Oh no, I forgot to lower it. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So again, I'm moving to the next image.
Rashi thi.
I'm moving to the next image. Ready, guys?
Don't get distracted.
नहीं तो हो गया ना राशि थी.
Focus on
मैं
the
बता रहा
game.
हूँ तुम्हें राशि थी.
I'm moving to the next image. There you go.
Always राशि.
There's the timer. Come on. I can hear a lot of typing.
Yo. Can I type as well?
मैं थी तुम.
Yeah, you can. Five seconds left.
सही में यार श्रेया भूख लग रही है.
Stop. Cool. So,
I'll be
okay.
distracting you guys. You have to answer.
I'm moving to the next image. There's
Should
the
I go
next
to the-
image. And there's the timer start.
Nice picture. Where is it? Already planning my next.
Guys, observe. Ten seconds to go.
Come on, guys, answer.
6,
6, 5, 4,
7,
3.
I
8,
want
and
answers.
stop.
Stop. People stop.
ये रसोड़े में गई है क्या?
Stop. Okay.
Maybe she took me seriously.
Next
Shreya,
image.
ये भाग गया.
Okay. Next
Come
image.
on, guys. Don't get distracted. I'm
नहीं
doing
मतलब
this.
तुम डिस्ट्रैक्ट भी क्वेश्चन आंसर दर्ज करने के बाद कर रही हो
I
यार.
am moving to the next image. There you go. Last one.
यार
Start
ये बहुत
typing.
गंदा लग रहा है.
Start
वल्गर है.
typing.
ये बहुत वल्गर है.
Start typing ऐसा.
Come on, guys, answer right answer.
यार विनोद की स्टाइल हट
That's
I'm getting
what my task
Oh,
is.
stop. Time's up. Time's up.
1 second up, Niharika. That's
Time.
not fair. 1 extra second.
OMG.
An extra second for good luck.
Oh,
Okay. So moving on. The winner is
winner is Shreya.
it will be announced on our Insta page.
मैंने
So-
सही आंसर दिया मुझे अनाउंस करना ओके चलो
on our Insta story. So this is the Instagram handle and it will be announced I think by tonight on our Insta story. The readers will check all the answers and let's see. All right.
अंकुश तुमने मुंह छुपा लिया उसे पता वो हार रहा है अंकुश
You
बता
guys
दो
had
तुम हार रहे
fun. I think I can see your faces and tell
Oh
you
my God.
had fun.
विनोद कर रहे हैं
No need to hide your face, Ankush.
yeah we know you clearly lost What did
I
you
got some really great answers.
All right. Now I'll stop presenting. Okay, so
Don't mind.
readers, you can go on with the summary of chapter 6.
yeah
Please start.
Yeah, so in the previous chapter, Colbert brought an important topic, the effect of atmospheric carbon dioxide levels on Earth's oceans. I guess we had a very big and good discussion related to the same. So in this chapter, she will study more closely Castello Argonis because it is close to a tectonic plate. It's a kind of a crystal ball, like for scientists, the state of marine life. They suggest what the oceans will look like in half a century. Right away, the marine life at Castello Argonis doesn't look very healthy. The high levels of carbon dioxide in the water seem to be interfering with life for reasons that haven't been understood fully yet. If Castello Argonis is a crystal ball, the future doesn't look good. Since the Industrial Revolution began in the early 19th century, now here I expect that you all must have studied well social science in your school life, so you know what Industrial Revolution is. So, since the Industrial Revolution began in the early 19th century, human beings have burned huge quantities of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas, a process that's added billions of metric tons of carbon to the atmosphere. Humans have always also cut down many trees, further increasing the amount of carbon in the air. As at the current rate of growth, the author Colbert asserts, humans can expect the carbon dioxide concentration of the atmosphere to become double what it was before the Industrial Revolution began. The average world temperature could increase by as much as 7 degrees Fahrenheit, melting the world's glaciers and dramatically changing the marine environment. The changes in temperature and sea level could then trigger further changes for the world's ecosystems. The increase in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is also tied to the increased acidity of ocean water. Indeed, ocean water is almost 30% more acidic than it was in the year 1800, like when the Industrial Revolution began. And by the year 2050, the author predicts that it will be 150% more acidic than it was in the year 1800.
Indeed, Shreya. One of the most important ways that humans alter the environment is by burning fossil fuels. And this burning of fossil fuels has been a fixture of civilization since the Industrial Revolution, as you said, during which time we discovered that coal could power a steam engine and gasoline could power an internal combustion engine. Back on land, scientists Hall, Spencer, and Weir show Colbert some of the animals they've rescued from the ocean, including a starfish with a missing arm and a large sea cucumber. The carbon dioxide emitting sea vents of the ocean have eroded the shells of many sea creatures, considerably endangering their survival. So, a point in this that you mentioned that 150 time percent more acidic, right? And the pH scale is logarithmic. So just think about that, uh, how much more acidic the oceans will become and how much more that will affect the creatures living there. All right. So the carbon dioxide emitting sea vents of the ocean, uh, I mean, they're damaging, I mean, these creatures' cells pretty bad. Castello oregonese is in the area surrounding that place. One can determine how close a sea creature lived to a carbon dioxide vent based on the erosion on its shell. Okay, and the more erosion, the closer it lived. And using this, Hall, Spencer, and Guia can study the sea life near a carbon dioxide vent to predict what the Earth's oceans in general will be like in another century. And the data is not very promising because based on the data at Castello oregonese, entire ecosystems comprising many different species will vanish. That's Castello aragonese.
Yeah,
I
it is
pronounced it
because the most immediate impact of increased oceanic acidity on marine life is the erosion of sea creatures' shells. Much like ammonites, mollusks used to have a great evolutionary advantage, that is their shells, which kept them safe. Oceanic acidification is dangerous for many reasons. It deprives large animals of nutrition, interferes with photosynthetic processes, and wipes out existing ecosystems. One group of creatures that will be in particularly harmed by acidification is the calcifiers, or creatures that build themselves calcium shells. Example: clams, oyster, sea urchins, starfish, etc. Acidification to calcification is like, as Colbert says, trying to build a house while someone is stealing your bricks. So it is gonna be tough if acidification continues. Calcifiers are some of the most common animals in the sea, which means that if the acidity of the ocean continues to rise, a significant chunk of the animals that live in the oceans will die out or have to adapt rapidly to their changing environments, which I think would be very difficult for the calcifiers. In general, carbon dioxide emissions are particularly deadly for ocean life, as it absorbs about a third of the carbon dioxide that humans pump into the atmosphere. The problem, Colbert argues, isn't so much that humans have added carbon dioxide to the ocean, as it is always entering ocean in some form, but that they have added it to the ocean in vast quantities and too quickly. So it's like the carbon dioxide is being added at warp speed. If humans continue their current rates, the Anthropocene epoch will be one of the most cataclysmic events in the planetary history. There's nothing unprecedented about the projected acidity of the ocean. As Colbert says here, the oceans have experienced growing and declining acidity at many points in the history of the planet. Colbert's point here is that humans are increasing the acidity of the oceans too quickly. They are like acting as a catalyst in increase of ocean acidification. So yeah,
One interesting thing I read in this chapter was how how difficult for that researcher was who did this first experiment regarding that gradient of the acidification. So how difficult it was to get a research funding because it was completely new concept, and and it was just like, as you already mentioned, that it was just like a time machine to see, like, based upon the acid, like the CO2 concentration, and the species varied depending upon the concentration of the pH level of the ocean. In through a stream, I forgot which location it exactly was.
How is the increasing CO2 level like exactly responsible for the ocean acidification.
तुम्हारे सवाल में जवाब है कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड reacts with water to
हाँ
form
हाँ
carbonic acid, the weak acid. So
मतलब
It
are there any other factors as well? Because CO2 मतलब global warming के लिए अच्छा one more question, like do you think anything is more evil than global warming or even equivalent to the evilness of global warming?
Evilness is subjective. So
I think human conflict,
Diplomatic answer. Yeah. Even
human conflict is much worse than global warming, especially all these unnecessary violent wars that take place that have taken
about to say the
place,
same thing.
Syria, Iran, etc.
no, but from biology perspective, like keeping the moral side, like keeping the moral thing aside. So from the biology aspect, so it is a good thing because so there should be some rival species that is keeping control in the population. In our case, it is not other than just we humans.
Regarding
So
that,
some
it's sort of a
don't.
necessary evil, I think.
regarding that, like in species, okay, competition is obviously a necessary evil. If there is no competition, then
Yeah,
inferior genes will flourish,
definitely.
right? But if we keep killing each other, if we keep nuking each other, if we keep bombing each other, then there will be no humans left to reproduce to spread our species across the galaxy. So just the thing to
No,
consider.
actually, like you talked of acidification of the ocean as a stressor for the species. I think conflict among humans is also a general stressor for everyone because no one really feels relaxed reading news of conflict, war, social
Taking this
uprising.
purely from a biodiversity perspective, you could also say that like how we are basically killing animals to its extinction. Like for example, dodo. Like these animals, you have basically taken them off the map. They're no longer there in or running around in the earth. So that can also be a very important factor, which is resulting in our the downfall of our biodiversity.
Yes, human wars and conflicts affect majorly humans only. They won't affect the animals or plant species so much as any natural event would. Like ocean acidification affects a huge part of the aquatic life.
Not exactly, because when you think about it, when if you bomb a country with like if you drop a nuclear bomb on a country, it is not just going to affect humans. It's going to affect every single thing that happens there. It's going to affect the soil. It's going to affect the plants. It's going to affect the animals. Nothing is going to run perfect there. So I mean, look for example, I'm not taking the example of I'm not taking the example of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I'll take the example of Chernobyl instead. There, it can anyone enter the place? No, it's a dead city because of this nuclear meltdown. Just imagine if, and right now, this is what maybe like 2 or 3 years back, North Korea apparently claims that they've made the hydrogen bomb. What if they drop it onto another country? It'll destroy the entire country. So it will, and the
No,
species
that's
in it.
that's highly unlikely for any nuclear event to happen. But you're right. I mean, the essence of conflict itself causes us to invest so much in defending ourselves from our own species that doesn't make much sense. Uh, I mean, look at the Indo-China issues happening currently. If we don't have to deploy all these people in border areas, we can actually, I think, grow crops in those areas, and we can use human resources much better than just to hold guns. And it seems unnecessary, all that unwanted expenditure on defense.
But yeah, this is also like I always believe this that this is so we have the right tools, but we haven't yet evolved from our ancestral teachings. So we are just behaving like hunters and gatherers as we were much years back. So I think maybe by the end of this century, I believe that we should be like more like we will evolve into a more collectivist society where like the borders should from my perspective, I don't think like after maybe 1,000 years there would be any such borders. Like there would be borders like between the planets. I think maybe okay, so I'm a Martian, I'm an Earthian, I'm a so and so. But from a
Why can't
planet
we all just be human? Like, just
No, you
have
see,
one.
like I was just watching a video some days back. The cause of population growth in India and China, they said it has to do with rivers and water bodies. So I think perhaps instead of building walls and borders and spending on defense, if we just spend more on distributing human population uniformly across the world, like for example the Middle East, it hardly has any population. If we can somehow distribute that there and have more agriculture there, I think that would really help more than what we're doing right now.
I mean, eventually it's
that is
it's
on
an
individuals
yeah.
now, because everyone has a different perspective. So like we are from science stream, so we have so we are discussing these things. But those who are lacking scientific temper, they are just like some personal benefits and all, like so that individualistic things come forward. So I think so yeah. So lack of awareness and lack of knowledge is there.
Yeah, I think you see most of the global warming issues are due to consumption, overconsumption, and that is because resources are not being allocated equally, properly. When basic resources are not being given to people who need them, and on the other hand, there are some people who are exorbitantly spending resources for no reason whatsoever. So, but we probably need to distribute resources a lot better.
Definitely. And yes, Parth sir is raising hand.
Yeah, so regarding what Abhishek said, so regarding that, it is an eventuality that we will destroy this planet. Like this planet will not be habitable. Like we will colonize the land, we'll colonize the seas, and eventually this planet will be fit for nobody, right? So eventually we will have to move to other planets. Like we'll have to move to the moon. We'll have to move to Moon is not a planet, but it'll serve as a station, as a base. Then we'll move to Mars, Enceladus, Europa, these places, right? So eventually we will have to spread out across the galaxy, and that is
Do
when
you
we
think
will.
it's possible? I mean, look at it this way. Traveling to Mars one way, it's a 35 to 40 million kilometer trip. And then taking the resources we have on the Earth there. And the thing is, the window to travel to Mars, I think it takes place once every 18 or 19 months, the distance from the Earth and
It's not
Mars.
necessary for everyone on this planet or every species on this planet to get to Mars, right? As long as a
Yeah,
few
but it's like a mostly Mars, people living on Mars will still be dependent on those living on Earth. So we can't really look at that as a one-stop solution to everything.
Yeah, it's
Mars
not
is
a
just a
one-stop
stupid.
solution, but eventually they will have to establish themselves as an independent colony.
It's unlikely. It's unlikely. I mean, Mars does occur, does fall in the Goldilocks zone. I agree, but it's not reasonable. I mean, it's fine that Elon Musk is a hero who has worked on moving to Mars, but it's unlikely that most of us will ever get to move there. I mean,
We
think
don't have
about
to
it. Moving to the moon
we will be
itself.
long dead by then, by the time
We are
this
just
planet is
focused to the
inhospitable.
technology because so during so when we went to Australia and other places from Africa, so we initially we didn't have boats, so that's why we were restricted to that island. So when we developed boats, so we could travel seas and we could go to other lands. So presently we're just hopeful that someday in the future we'll develop such technology that the traveling will become more and more less time consuming.
Yeah, but you have to look at it reasonably. Australia is a few hundred, maybe max 1,000 kilometers, not even that.
No, we
So
know this now. Not
yeah, but
how.
Mars is in the millions.
Yeah, but when Australia was
What if
colonized,
like some
think of
species
it this
go
way.
to Mars and
Humanity
then they
wasn't
start
so
a
9 billion population in दुनिया की उस time, है
It's
ना?
unlikely. It's really unlikely because, yeah.
Okay, I
I
had
think
a
we're
question for you
investing too
guys.
much on another planet and investing too little on our own.
Exactly.
I mean, we
Very
have to
good.
prepare for the worst, right? We have to prepare for the worst.
Then why don't we just invest in our own planet?
Yeah,
अपने
just
planet
make
Well,
it
and we
so
should,
check
but
करो.
we should
अगर
prepare for the worst.
No, because we
Yes.
can't. We have to look forward also, because we know that someday the sun will grow into red giant, and it will like eat
Yeah,
up the.
that's again that you're looking at the timeline of millions of years. How many millennia later is that going to happen?
By
तब
when?
तो
What
Because
we
when you
need
know
right
that
now is
someday life is
political
going to
change
end
That is
in
a
the
very
world.
myopic way of thinking, in my opinion. If you
We don't
just look
need
at
we don't need Elon Musk to go to Mars. We need him or people like him to enter politics and
but
Mars.
he is making life better for people on Earth as well. Like you've heard of
No,
Neuralink.
he's not. He's not doing anything relevant to my life or to yours, to be very honest.
Well, I'll give you one example. Uh, his Starlink. So that will probably
No,
reduce
if
the
you
cost of
read
electricity.
about it, Starlink will benefit the most, out of reach areas, which are not so many. Most of human population does not need Starlink satellites. It does not use internet in a beneficial way. Using
All right.
internet to
Bandhan
surf
said you
YouTube
must
and
debate.
post photos on Facebook and
I just
Instagram is not
I'll just stop you
beneficial
right there. I'll
to
just stop you right there. We're not going to debate on Musk. Actually, I brought this up because I wanted to have a conversation with you regarding something else. Okay, so when assuming we go to Mars, okay, if we go to Mars, okay, we will probably take the DNA of some species with us, right? We will take some sort of representative plants and animals का DNA, some representative cells, stem cells कुछ तो ले जाएंगे ना हम, है ना? When we go to these other places.
Either
Think of it
DNA
this way.
or embryos.
Yeah, embryos will ले जाएंगे, okay, right? So my question is, they say history repeats itself. In the distant future, when we are an interplanetary civilization, do you think ancient flora and fauna will flourish on foreign worlds? And will we cause a seventh extinction there? And Anthropocene deuce, if you will.
Nothing is going to flourish on Mars. We need to
If we
first.
terraform Mars, then it might.
It's what? How you going to move? What is that? What is that machine? LNT ka, which was so popular. Meme bana tha uske. What is that machine? That big machine that that
Large Hadron
excavator.
Collider.
Huh?
Large Hadron Collider.
No.
LHC.
The excavator, Earth excavator, which became popular in the past. Now, उसमें memes भी आए थे. How you
हाँ
going to
भाई
transport that to Mars?
I think
Okay, getting back to Parth's question, I think if seventh extinction, if possible, if happens, only after the extinction it is possible that the ancient flora and fauna can return. Because unless we are surviving, we are living, we won't let them come back, not in any condition.
Let new
I just
species of
need.
them come, na.
I think what
New
we need to
species
do
are
is
most
what.
welcome because humans will be researching. But he asked about ancient flora and fauna. So I think it can only return if all these existing
Yeah,
species are wiped out.
Yeah, I forgot
we
that
have
part of the
come too
question. That's
far to
yeah,
go
I
back
talked about
there.
dinosaurs and mammoths and that sort of thing. Yeah. So do you think they will flourish on distant Mars? Do you think that will happen?
Dinosaurs have not flourished in Saudi Arabia. How will they flourish on Mars?
But that was due to the अरे यार.
And it's
Elephant,
not,
Mars
it's
is
not
why do
because
you guys
dinosaurs are
want
Hindus
an
or
extinct
Christians.
species back? Just move on to new species.
अरे मुझे
just out
Jurassic
of
Park में जाना है
curiosity.
यार.
मार्स पे अगर आएंगे तो वो मार्स वेरिएंट्स होंगे फिर
हाँ.
totally different.
Okay, so I have a question regarding this chapter discusses regarding corals. So, how many of you think that like the younger generation, maybe school children or maybe those who have just entered college, so they realize that corals are not rocks but animals?
काफी कम percentage.
New question.
So, how many percentage do you think of the younger generation, maybe those entering college, realize that corals are not rocks but animals?
Eventually, I think a lot of corals due to bleaching have essentially become rocks.
No, but like the information, the basic thing that corals are animals, though they are getting solidified into rocks. but they are still underneath animals.
Yeah, but the truth is that biology education is very limited, you see, isn't it? I mean, how many people really study biology out of interest? Most what I have seen, and I myself have studied biology, is to get into medical college, which is like a really stupid place to be. So, yeah.
We need more doctors, though. I mean,
No,
especially.
dude, we don't. We don't need more doctors. Trust me.
I
We
watch
need more
Animal
people like
Planet a lot.
who are just interested in biology for the heck of it, not because they want to clear a neat entrance exam. That's so dumb.
We'll have that discussion for the next time. I think we should like have a Zoom discussion on all this discussion clubs.
I
Yeah,
think we
biology
should
is
organize
severely
a meeting
underrated.
for the whole TBS.
Yeah, everything is for whole TBS only.
General
So
meeting, I
getting
meant to
back to
say.
the book, like anyone has anything else in mind?
Any questions, any queries, anything?
Can we contain ocean acidification? How can we do that?
Yeah, how can we?
Control or contain ocean acidification?
Oceanic acidification is
Global control करो सब हो जाएगा.
हाँ,
wow. Such a
Global
global
warming control करो सब हो जाएगा. Like CO2 levels. I mean,
mainly CO2 levels, but other things as well.
other things में क्या आएगा? जैसे
We are releasing a large amount of plastics and waste substances into the oceans as well. I mean, they are also a contributing factor. If we can't control big things like the amount of CO2 released into oceans, then we should, I think, work on smaller steps. So, like, we can control the amount of garbage we release every day. That will somehow contribute to the control of oceanic acidification. So, yeah.
Also, recycling, like a lot of plastics that I see are put in landfills, you know. All these plastics that we use, most of them go in the landfill. I don't know why they're not recycled somehow.
uh, the recycled life is very very minimum. Like एक प्लास्टिक बॉटल आप उसको रिसाइकिल करके आप वही प्लास्टिक बॉटल नहीं बना सकते. तो
But
पानी
have you ever thought why plastic bottle water is so popular? Like, what is the reason?
Easily
Like,
available,
isn't it
I
like
think,
really
low
stupid?
maintenance.
It's due to a marketing
uh,
campaign
can
simply.
and
we just
portable.
agree with it?
Portable.
It's simply due to a marketing campaign. It's not because of anything else. Like basically what they said is the tap water is very bad, while in fact that time tap water is actually quite decent. And they said, okay, fine, tap water is bad. You should not drink tap water. And because of that, people believed it, and they started to buy the bottled water. Simple as that. It's not because of convenience. It's just because of clever marketing. Same reason why diamonds are famous right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we have this news that if we mine a certain planet or comet, we'll all become millionaires. Never gonna happen.
So, yeah,
How many
Bandhansa
how
wrote
many of you?
segregation of types of garbage. That would also help,
Yeah.
and also awareness. I think many people think that throwing plastic away would do the job and they will just get rid of it. But they don't realize that they are not getting rid of it, they are creating a bigger problem for the near future.
I think there may be a psychological side from this. Like if you there's been experiments on infants, like maybe around 3 years old, or maybe I think around 1 year old also. Like it takes time for them to realize that if there is something that they can't see that still exists. So I don't know. So maybe some part of this remains as we grow up. So that kind of like we escape through this. Okay, so we are not able
It's
to
called
see it. That
object permanence, right? Yeah.
Bandhan, how is your background so stable? Do you have a green screen or something?
no. Maybe I think the lighting on my face is like uh, sufficient for the zoom to recognize the edges.
Okay. All right. Does anyone else have anything to discuss?
It feels really good actually, to talk of biology like this with you guys without any exam in in mind. It's a good feeling. Thanks, sir.
क्योंकि यहाँ पे बायोलॉजिस्ट के नीचे आपको खुद कम है.
But still, we can discuss about things like, मतलब ये तो like अभी global warming discuss हो रही थी. That is a common aspect.
बायोलॉजी को अगर तुम ऐसे लोगे कि मैं एग्जाम पढ़ने के लिए पढ़ रहा हूँ या बोझ की तरह, तो obviously you won't enjoy it, right? And now the biggest problem is most people come into this field because not because of their interest, but because और कोई choice नहीं है उनके पास में. Engineer नहीं बन सकते, doctor नहीं बन सकते, lawyer नहीं बन सकते, biotech में आ गए. I'm not pointing out anyone. I'm just saying that most people do this.
You'll see, we do need more youth involvement in parliamentary debates and politics, and not just on a superficial level. To actually be there, I don't know. It's really annoying hearing news about certain select political parties, which are basically aggregation of few people who name themselves a certain way, and you keep hearing about them every day. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
So I have a point regarding what Arjun mentioned regarding the tap water. So presently, due to industrial pollution, we can't rely on tap water. So we need ROs and other stuff. Like even if groundwater is very poisonous, especially if you talk about Punjab region, so there is a lot of uranium concentration in the groundwater. And then there are other heavy metals like there are like Hoshiarpur belt is there, so there is a high concentration of selenium, and so some places like so before virus things, now it has like the Ganga and all have cleared a bit, but before that, so there were high amounts of cadmium and lithium and other heavy metals around. So like in Narmada it is there, like Sabarmati river, and then Yamuna and Ganga throughout the stretches.
Which industries are responsible for throwing out all these pollutants, mainly heavy metals?
Majorly, I think our textile industries and yeah, Ankush has.
In Punjab, the basic reason for the high uranium content is not any industrial pollution. The basic reason for the uranium content or the rocks have this content. The basic rocks that that make up the crust in Punjab region have this high uranium content, and this when due to the groundwater due to the rice plantation in Punjab region, we need a lot of water for the rice crop. So the water that, and this water comes from the ground. The groundwater has been very highly abused in Punjab. So when we like in the Hoshiarpur region, the water level is at 400 feet, 300 to 350 to 400 feet region. तो वहां पर रॉक कंटेंट भी मिक्स हो जाता है. So the water that there it is, the water there has high uranium content due to the rocks, due to the जब पानी के साथ वो रॉक्स खुरती हैं तो जो यूरेनियम कंटेंट है वो रिलीज होता है उस पानी में. Then that water is drunk. Okay, that is in the Punjab region. The radioactivity in the
also pipelines like in previous century or so when pipelines were being laid, so lead was heavily used because of its stability and cost effectiveness. So उसको अंदर से galvanize कर देते थे, but also due to erosion, so lead leaks into the water pipeline, so that we can't drink that. So that's why we need other things.
There's also movie made in like Bollywood related to this metal poisoning in Punjab. You know, some like a swimmer, like an aspirant, national swimmer, like who wanted to like qualify for nationals. So he jumped into this like water source in Punjab, which was like filled with uranium and stuff, and he got poisoned. I don't remember the name of the movie, but it's a really good movie. So I will search for it and post it in the group. Like I don't remember the name, but it was a really good one. Anything else? Anyone wants to add? Okay, so I guess let's quickly move to the closing of the BD event. Everyone did a great job. I hope that in the upcoming BD events we have similar discussion, we elaborate and talk about such topics, and we would love to hear from you, like whatever you felt after attending today's BD event. If you notice any sort of setbacks or anything shortcomings, you can mention it in the feedback form.
All right, guys, then bye bye. It is. It was
Okay,
a fun
ciao
time.
guys.
Hola.
Bye. It was a
Bye.
news.
Hi everyone.